My name is Nassim Saabs.
Let me ask you a question. Has anything ever happened to you that you couldn't explain? That made you feel sort of foolish when you tried to tell somebody about it? Well, if it has, you have plenty of company, as you'll soon see.
Jonas, who has the first question?
Right here.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going, Dana?
Good.
Welcome back to Canada.
Thank you.
First question for you, actually. Why did you choose this venue and maybe not a bigger venue where fans would come out? Because George is obviously very popular in Canada.
Yeah, no, this was this opportunity popped up for us. These guys love GSP, so we had the opportunity to do this. Why would we not? This is incredible, you know. Last time I was here, obviously that was ridiculous too. One of the most incredible press events I've ever been a part of, you know, with Mayweather and McGregor. And then, you know, this is just different cool.
For sure, but why not a bigger venue though? Just because I think a lot of fans would have loved to come. I know it was only limited fans.
Yeah, because this was cool.
Because you people don't care about George anymore, by the sounds of it. That's why we had to come here and let you know that the lizard is coming out of retirement. We had to tell you this. Come on, you guys don't care anymore. George, say something. These are your people. Come on, address your public.
The lizard will put him out. The lizard will retire him.
Finally, listen everybody, I just want to say a few things. First of all, very happy to be back in Toronto. I love this place. Got a lot of good friends here. Secondly, George, you stepped your game up. That's a lovely suit. And thirdly, no, I am not intoxicated.
Next question's for Michael.
Understand because you haven't been there.
You're boring everybody, George.
You haven't
Please,
been in
I'm
my
going to fall
shoes.
asleep in a minute.
So you
Shut
only,
the fuck up.
only a few people.
We're talking
can
about
understand.
a fight, not your fucking knee problems, not your brain problems, not your alien problems, not your speech problems. We're going to fight November 4th. Fuck you all, Toronto. Yeah. I'll knock him out and then I'll knock all you lot out. One by one, you fucking... Yes, GSP. The only guy from this country that can fight. And he can't even fight very well. What's happened to MMA in this country? What has happened? George disappeared, you all dropped off. George, come on. Represent.
All right. Calm down.
I'm good.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'm going to square these guys off here. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
Look at that tongue sticking out in your cheek. You did that last week. That's when you know I'm pissing George off, because he does this. It's kind of weird. I don't know why you do it, but I can tell I'm getting to you, George. You're going to waste all your energy trying to take me down.
So I'm not the same guy that I was when I left off the sport. I'm a much better version, and he's going to find out the bad way.
Listen, here's the thing. Water is wet, fire burn. Water is wet, fire burn, and finish it. This is your line, George. Fuck GSP. GSP, let's go. Enjoy it, Canada. Embrace it. GSP is gonna get fucking wiped out. That's about it. Listen, I respect George. George is a good fighter. George is a great athlete. He's a good martial artist. I was expecting some more you douchebags to have the fucking headbands on from Karate Kid today. Where are you all? Where are the GSP fans? Come on, George. What the fuck's going on? This is your place. Where are the hordes of people? I'm really upset. Listen, I respect George. I know it's going to be a tough fight. I'm not expecting a walk in the park, but I'm having a bit of fun with him. Of course I'm going to bust his balls. I'm going to bust his fucking face in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so I'm going to bust his balls now.
And just one for... Next question's for Michael. Yeah, welcome back to Canada as well. Obviously, George is known for his wrestling. Do you feel like he's the best wrestler you fought in your career?
George isn't the best wrestler, but he has fantastic timing. That's what George is so good at. If you watch George, the initial blast double, he takes people down. If people give any kind of resistance to that initial shot, then he's really not successful a lot of the times. So therefore, it doesn't really concern me. I'm a bigger guy. I'm a stronger guy. George is, underneath that suit there, you can see some you know, some nice little muscles he's been working on very hard, but he's still going to be the smallest guy that I've ever fought. I'm going to stop that initial shot. He's going to waste energy trying to take me down. He's going to get tired, more and more tired. Look at that tongue sticking out in your cheek. He did that last week. That's when you know I'm pissing George off, because he does this. It's kind of weird. I don't know why you do it, but I can tell I'm getting to you, George. You're going to waste all your energy trying to take me down. See, when you wrestle, that's when you're trying to hide from fighting. I don't hide from fighting, and George is going to have to fight me.
And George, question for you. News this week came out that you're going to be training with a former opponent in Jake Shields. Bisping's only been submitted once in his career. Do you feel like you can submit him in this fight?
Yeah, I've worked on a lot of different things now. My game have stepped up and tremendously in the last in those 4 years. So I'm not the same guy that I was when I left off the sport. I'm a much better version, and he's going to find out the bad way.
Listen, here's the thing, and I don't doubt you've been working on other things, because that's what we do as martial artists. But at the end of the day, you can't reinvent the wheel. You know, there's still, the fundamentals are still the same kicks, the same punches, the same submissions. What, have you invented a new submission I've never seen before? A kick I've never seen? What exactly are you going to do? You're going to jab, double leg, bore everybody to sleep. I, on the other side, is going to try and knock you out.
I'm going to do whatever I want to do,
there we
whenever
go.
I want it to do.
Okay. Water is wet, fire burn. What is it? How does it go, George? Water is wet, fire burn. Water is wet, fire burn, and finish it. This is your line, George. Fuck GSP.
George, could you just explain a bit about, over here, George, the role that Freddie Roach played in your return? If you take him out of the equation, do you feel you're getting set for this fight in November?
People don't care about George anymore, by the sounds of it. That's why we had to come here and let you know that the lizard is coming out of retirement. We had to tell you this. Come on, you guys don't care anymore. George, say something. These are your people. Come on, address your public.
The lizard will put him out. The lizard will retire him.
Finally, listen.
It's the most important gate. And so that's why you'll always see UFO activity. It's not always UFO activity. It's a lot of angel pods that are in the area, too. I remember when NASA posted a video once of a fight in front of the sun, and I saw one of the white angel pods, and I almost flipped. And I had saved that video, but it was on my other computer that crashed. Would love to find that again.
Now, it's not an egg, is it? It's a vessel? Is that what you call it?
He said, make sure you tell everyone it's a vessel. And I said, okay.
Okay, it's a vessel. Yeah. Okay, it's a vessel. And you were in there for like a couple of hours.
I was in it for 3 days.
For 3 days, wow. Wow, that's...
Actually, it was inspired by humanoids, alien, sex humanoid hybrid woman.
My favorite. Now you do something that women don't do.
And what we've been doing with the egg and the rebirth, it's meant to signify an artistic statement of birthing a new race. And it's a race with no prejudice, a race within the race of humanity.
Yeah.
That's really the statement in itself.
Well, that's great. That's really good. That's really good. Now, you are...
The Anunnaki are a big part of behind the Nazi program that was on Earth. You know, Hitler was always talking about the Aryan race. He was talking about the tall blondes. And the tall blondes at that time actually had a huge nest in Mount Shasta in Northern California. They were deep under that mountain, Mount Shasta. Had a huge city there, probably 20 million of the tall blondes. And they were overtaking the German government. And, you know, the rest is the whole war, the whole thing is such a lie. Everything about that war was just a distraction and lie. So many aspects to it. It was never about overtaking Russia and overtaking the world, because, you know, they wouldn't have hightailed it to South America, Antarctica. If they wanted to win, they could have won. I mean, they had Foo Fighters, which were alien UFOs. They could have put weapons on them and shot the Americans and everybody else out of the sky. I mean, the whole thing, the whole aspect of it being a genuine war on their side was a lie. They used all that as a distraction so they could do other things in the background. They were testing chip-implanted soldiers. They were doing all this stuff, all these experiments. And, of course, you know, I mean, the Americans and everybody else thought there was actually a war going on. I don't know. It's not to them. You know, it's all coming to a head because I've talked to you about who the Ashtar Command is, and they're tied in with the whole tall blonde Mount Shasta people, race that was under there, the tall blondes, the Aryans, Hitler referred to them as. They are tied into them with Hawaii and Japan. They're all like a huge alliance. I told you the Japanese are tied in with the Ashtar Command, and they had superior technology, space technology. And they do, because I deal with Japanese more than anybody else, more than the Russians, more than the Americans. It's the Japanese spaceships that can penetrate and come through the portals to Earth and access our aerospace. They have superior space technology. That's where most of their money goes. Most of their stuff is. People think, oh, it's Honda and Samsung and you know, all this other stuff. It's actually space. They're actually much more involved in space than people could imagine. And because they're aligned with the aliens. They're aligned with Ashtar and the tall blondes and these alien races. That's also known as the White Dragon Society. They call themselves the White Dragons. And they're a faction against the New World Order, against the Nazi faction that America runs. Putin's also against the Nazi faction. They have their own faction. And everybody thinks Putin's coming to save the day in America. He's got his own faction. They're the bear faction. And in America, it's the lizard faction. It's the reptile faction, America and Europe. Russia's the bears. It's just a different faction, folks. Why do you think it's called the Russian bear? You know, and all you see in Star Wars is a big Chewbacca representing the bear race. You got Chewie. You know, really? There's a whole constellation of these bears. We call them Bigfoots in America. That's why they can't be caught and they can get away, because they're dimensional beings. When you see them on Earth, they're in their third dimensional state. But they're always associated with UFOs because they're from space. But they're just worker bees. And you know, the Big Dipper and Small Dipper, the Big Bear constellation, the Little Bear, whatever. That's all theirs. The constellations, the bears. They control Russia. They're the ones behind Russia. Oh, I know I was backtracking. I was talking about the Anunnaki of our Pentagon and our military bases, trying to turn people into transhumanists and the super soldiers and all that. That's pretty much a mixture of the Anunnaki, what they're doing to mankind. And so they come back and forth. They're back and forth. That's why they claim Earth is theirs. You know, they want people to believe that mankind was created out of test tubes and they're our creators. And these are the parts of the lies that they're pushing, that they are our creators, to negate the whole fact that man was created in the Garden of Eden. They don't want you to believe in God. They don't want you to think the Garden of Eden never existed. They're always pulling you away from God, away from God. And even today, if a Chinese or Asian, or particularly in China, Christians are hunted down and killed daily there. Zero tolerance for anyone believing in God. That's how much Lilith hates him. And she'll kill any of her offspring that worship him. So that's why you have an atheist China that is so intent on killing Christians over there. And there's thousands of Chinese every year that die. Where's the outrage for that? Where is Chinese lives matter?